What we're having a look at here is, again, this is about, just so I don't lie to you, we're talking about 2.5 million person years of follow-up, right? In this study, they followed people up for about 10 years, I think it was. So 2.5 million divided by 10, lots of subjects here, right? Lots and lots of subjects measured. And what they looked at is, what is the protective effect, in this case, against cardiovascular disease based on their fitness and their activities. There's a couple of strong messages that I'd love you to take away from this. The first one is that most of your protection happens in the first quartile, right? So if you're in the really unfit, really inactive part of the population, let's call it your bottom 5-10%, if we can shift that to just 25 percentile points, so you're now in the bottom 25% of the population, you've bought yourself the most protection that you're going to get. The other key thing that I want you to see here is what the difference is between being active or fit. Yeah? So remember when we talked about the physical activity guidelines, this was just our playing field, right? This should be the minimum, those 60 minutes of physical activity every day with 2 strength sessions a week. Ideally, the minimum that we just occupy from a time perspective. Then what do we do with that time, right? And I'll talk later to some of the examples of what we do internally. So we've got a test where we measure these things and we kind of let you know where you're sitting. And we know that in 6 months of fine-tuning the amount of time that you're already spending in your physical activity, doesn't mean that we're asking necessarily to do much more, but how to fine-tune what you're already doing, and we shift people quartiles in about 6-month periods of time that have a very significant effect on health span, current and future, and I'll show you this. So, what does this mean? If you are the most active person in the population, right? You're at the 100th percentile. You're 100%, you're active, more active than 100% of people. You get about a 22% protection of a cardiovascular event in this follow-up period, right? Whereas if you're in the fittest part of the population, which is hard ask, but if you were in the fittest part of the population, you're getting over a 60% protection, almost 3 times from being just active, right? So active, beautiful, tick, but are we actually fine-tuning what we do with that time? Highly protective.